Your call is important to us and will be answered by our next available administrator. Please note that your call may be recorded for monitoring and training purposes.
Single point of access, Lauren speaking.
Yes, good afternoon, Laura. Can you try to put me through to Christopher Browell? It's regarding Mr. Talib Hussain, date of birth 15/9/1960.
Yeah, I'll try and get you through now. Won't be a moment, please.
Okay. Yes, okay. Is this a convenient time to talk? I did send you an email. Did you get my email?
I did check your email, yeah.
Okay, all right. And have you attended the property today?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Okay, all right. Or I'm slightly confused because I got something through the post, and I'm just trying to understand what's happening. So I've asked you for this information. You've provided this information to me now. But this doesn't make any sense to me. Can you just assist me in understanding what you posted to the letterbox?
Hang on. I think I explained in the letter. I've got a copy of the letter here.
Okay. Well, you know the court order that you've sent through. That was obviously given to you on the 13th of that was given to you on the 13th of October, or previously by myself, wasn't it?
I'm not sure, to be honest. Yeah, I've just been asked to kind of try and see to kind of serve the order and maybe talk with yourself and Talib.
Okay, all right. Okay, no, but the thing is, that obviously that is what I'm questioning, because obviously, the first point I wanted to just touch on is that when we last spoke, on the 19th of December, which was on Monday. We're on Thursday now, yes?
Yes.
All right, and prior to that, I believe we spoke on the 8th or 9th of November, a month ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was that, and obviously we concluded our relationship because obviously at that time I felt that you were not in a position to assist or help us any further, because obviously there was a court hearing coming up regarding the eviction, and obviously that we wouldn't get we were not going to get any representation from yourself or assistance or any support, and so therefore I felt that we couldn't go any further. But then obviously the court hearing went ahead, and your involvement was there on the part of the housing association, because obviously I didn't contact you, the housing association contacted you at the date of the hearing, and then obviously subsequently I've not had any contact from yourself until Monday, because in the interim I've been trying to liaise with your manager Mohammed Fayaz. So can I ask, did Mohammed Fayaz come down today as well?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so you both came down, yeah? At what time?
It was just before 2 o'clock.
Okay, we're now, I've called at 2 o'clock, so are you back at the office or are you in the car?
I'm in the car, just parked up.
Okay, and is Mr. Fayaz with you?
No.
Okay, alright. So both of you came down, you posted the posted the letter and then left?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, alright.
We rang the doorbell and then and then posted the letter when no answer at the door.
Okay, all right, that's fair enough. Well, the thing is, I mean, when we spoke on Monday, you had told me that you had previously tried to contact me on the 13th of December, and you were adamant that you had done so because I asked when you had previously called, and you had mentioned the previous date. Now I can confirm to you, Mr. Browell, that you hadn't called because I have not received any voice messages at all.
Right. Well, I mean, I'd need to check back on the notes, but generally, if I've called, then I would add a note away, and I've tried to call and left the voicemail. So
okay.
I think that's what it says in the notes. Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, the thing is, if you left a voice message, like you left a voice message on Tuesday, I got that voice message.
Okay.
Did you ring today and leave a voice message?
I did, yes.
Okay,
yeah.
so I've not looked at the phone, but obviously that voice message is there. But prior to the voice message on Tuesday, there's no voice message at all left.
Okay, from when? Is that from last week? Are you saying?
Yeah, from last week. You're saying that you rang up last week and left a voice message, but I've got no evidence that you did do so.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think that's what I've added to the notes. Other than that, I don't know what to say really. I mean, would that make a significant difference?
I think it would, because obviously it's an aspect of trust, and we're at this stage now where the relationship of trust is being marginally abused, not marginally but systemically abused. And obviously you and I have a working relationship now. Obviously, if you've just come down on Monday the 19th of December, you've not telephoned or left a voice message, you've come down to deliver a letter, all right. It was incumbent upon you to let me aware of it. You're saying you rang up the week previously. I've got no evidence of that, but obviously we're now in a situation where I need to take your word upon things, and the trust relationship is not there for us to believe anything you're saying. But like I said, it's not a major issue. Whether you did or didn't call, it just shows that obviously there are ongoing issues that need to be resolved now. If you got that copy of the letter in front of you, I just wanted to gain some clarity on this. So the letter I've got in front of me is called a COP 14.
Okay.
Is that what you've got in front of you?
No, I've just got a copy of those are the original documents that I was asked to send you. I've just got a copy of the letter the separate letter that was written with regards to our visit. If the visit was not successful.
Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Okay. Okay, all right. Okay, so that letter. Yeah, I've got that letter here, and that's dated the 21st of December.
Yes.
So that was a letter written by you yesterday.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and you preemptively thought that if we can't deliver the letter, then obviously we'll post this letter through the letterbox. Okay, alright, that's fair enough. But this letter that we've received, what you've come down is with the court order. Now the court order, obviously I already received that court order. I received that court order on the 13th of, actually I received that court order on the 15th of October, a couple of months ago. Alright.
Okay.
And then also you've come down to serve a COP 14 form.
So I'm just following what I was instructed by the legal department. Those are the sections of the order itself, and then there was the other sections that if I was able to see Talib, that we'd kind of discuss with Talib and explain as best we could and complete that form. If we weren't able to see Talib, I was advised to just kind of to deliver that form.
Okay, that's fair enough. It says here, but you've delivered the wrong form. Alright, that's what I'm trying to say to you, is that what you've delivered, and can you please take a note of this, that what you've delivered right now I've got in front of me is I've got your letter dated the 21st of December, okay?
Yeah.
I've got a COP 14 form, alright?
Yeah.
Which is a proceedings about you in the court of protection. Alright, so I've got that form, that's what I wanted to question you about. I've got an informational leaflet form saying guidance and notes on completed COP 5. Alright, so it's a COP 5A document that you posted through. Alright, and then obviously you proceeded to provide us with a copy of the court order. So those are the four documents that we've received.
Okay.
Okay, now if you're saying that you're coming down to serve some papers, then I would anticipate that it would be a COP5 form, because that says acknowledgement of service or notification.
Okay.
All right, but that's not been served. That's not been what was given through the post. What was given through the post was a proceedings about you court of protection letter, which is confusing to me because it's got my brother's address on it, but it says 14 Morris Street.
All right, I can't comment on that. I haven't added that address, so.
Yeah. Yes. But so I mean, yes, you've been asked to serve the papers, but this letter is from the Court of Protection, and it's the job of the Court of Protection to serve either the COP 14 or COP 5. That's the job of the Court of Protection.
Okay.
And that's the job of the Office of the Public Guardian.
Right.
And so what happens is that when legal documents are being served, there's somebody called a process server, all right, that the Office of the Public Guardian would normally instruct to deliver formal documents. Now, I know the fact that when these proceedings commenced, I think in January 2021, attempts were made by the Office of the Public Guardian to send their representatives. So I'm aware of this because as you're aware, the COP 14 form needs to be presented to us when the proceedings commence. So it says here on the form that the application was made on the 13th of October 2020. That's over 2 years ago. All right. So normally what happens is there's a procedure that needs to be followed. And so Talib needs to be made aware that proceedings are being made about them, and a COP 14 needs to be delivered to him. Attempts were made to deliver the COP 14 form to my brother in January 2021. Now, so therefore, this COP 14 says, look, I object or I consent to their application. But the application, what I'm told, dated the 20th of October, it's been finalised. But it hasn't been finalised because the order that you've given us is not a final order. So, look, I need to understand why you've delivered a COP 14 form, which attempts were being made to deliver in January 2021. Now in December 2022, it's like, oh, retrospectively we've tried to deliver it. But number one, the number two is that this is the job of the Office of the Public Guardian. And number three is, why are you, as the city mental health team, delivering official court documents that you're not remitted to do? So can I just...
I think it's the Office of the Public Guardian have asked us to directed us to try and serve those documents.
No, but you and I, we've had these conversations in the past. Your role as the city mental health team is to manage my brother's health and welfare primarily, isn't it? Because you and I, we've not been able to resolve anything regarding his property and finances.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, that is correct, isn't it? Because you came down to visit my brother, I think, in sometime in May. My brother said to you, how much money have I got? You said, I'm going to find out, and you couldn't give him a balance of how much money you, the council, are accumulating. And then subsequently, you've told me that, your main interest, and particularly in consideration that your work, I've got a letter here in front of me, not from Bradford Council. I've got a letterhead which you drafted for the second time now. Says the NHS Bradford District Care NHS Foundation Trust City Community Mental Health Team. All right, that is a letter not by the Office of the Public Guardian. That is a letter not by Bradford Council, but that is a letter by Bradford District Care Trust. So you understand that people have to have what capacity they're coming in now. You can come and knock on our door as Mr. Browell, as our friend or relative, or informally. But you've not come down in that capacity. You've come down in your professional capacity to, because you've been asked to do so. Now, if you've been asked to do so, come down on the professional capacity, then, I need to understand, like, how have you come down to deliver a court document, all right, from the Office of the Public Guardian, whom I've directed your legal team, whom I've directed you, are working for a Bradford District Care Trust, subcontracted to them to come and deliver a court order. It doesn't make any sense to me. So could you please help me understand this?
So those are just the letters that we use in CMHT. I could have requested a different letterhead as with the council and things like that, but as you're aware, I'm an employee of the council. I also work for the CMHT, so those are the standard letter templates. Which is it's nothing duplicitous. I can understand what you're saying, but it's not intended to be duplicitous. That's just the template that we use day to day.
Okay. Well, you're saying nothing is duplicitous. With respect, I disagree. And I think everything is duplicitous because obviously, as you can appreciate, you're saying we're doing nothing duplicitous. Yet my brother, look at what situation my brother's finding himself in. On the verge of becoming homeless. He's got no access to his benefit money for several years. His property's been taken away from him. He did not see his own mother for the last year of her life. I don't think when it comes to an aspect of malevolence, all right, and duplicity, I don't think you can get any worse than this. And so for you to say like, no, I'm not, I understand that maybe you're saying that, look, and I find this often on the case, oh no, it's nothing, it's just usual, it's just normal, it's just not appeasement. Yeah, the reality of the situation is where, we're suffering immensely, considerably. And I know there's malevolence taking place because obviously, there's my brothers who's suffering and, there's actions being taken against us now. So that's just one of the points that I wanted to ask is that, look, I'm happy for you to give these letters in the letterhead because what it shows me is that irrespective of Bradford Council or Office of the Public Guardian or the Court of Protection or the Bradford District Care Trust, you're all effectively working as one collective, aren't you?
I work for both the trust and the council.
I know that's your role. So with regards to your role, there's a clear connection between you and the NHS Trust, which you're not even in a position to deny, are you? That you, the Bradford Council and Bradford District Care Trust, effectively work as a collective.
We'll work in partnership.
Yeah. All right. You use the word terminology as partnership. I use the word as terminology as a collective. Effectively, there's no difference between the Bradford District Care Trust being an external corporate entity and it being a department of Bradford Council. Because effectively, it may be a different corporate entity, but it's effectively acting as a department of the council. Would that be a fair assessment?
No, I wouldn't say that's the case. I think in this case, I'm an employee of the council, so I think that has to do with why I've been allocated as care coordinator to Talib, as he's allocated to the mental health team for social matters, ongoing matters with regard to appointee-ship. So that's why I think I've been allocated. But on a wider scale of how the CMHT works with the council and things like that, I don't think that's the same. As I say, the working partnership, so it depends on
all right.
situation.
But you understand, working in partnership and working as a, what's the distinction between working as a partnership and working as a collective?
I would say that they work in different ways, depending on what responsibilities and roles are required. So if there's a safeguarding concern, usually that would be the responsibility of the local authority rather than the trust, unless the person was in hospital and things like that. So,
all right. Now, I understand. Look, there's a distinction. Like, for example, look, I and my friend, let's say, all right, we're two different people. Now we're two different individuals. Now we can have a partnership, but in that partnership, that our role is clearly defined. All right. However, if in that partnership, the other party, my friend, takes just instructions from me and does not act with their own autonomy, or does not act with their own autonomy, but takes instructions from me, then effectively he's just my proxy agent, isn't he? Then.
Okay.
Yeah. So the thing is that I think there's a very fine line between two separate entities, working in partnership, or two separate entities working as a collective. And this is what concerns me, is that the point that I'm trying to make here is that it's evident that there is that grey area, or a line has been overstepped, which I believe that's happened in my case, or in our family's case. But moving away from this, that in itself would be a point of contention or concern. But you could justify that by saying, well, actually, we do work as a collective when it comes under issues of safeguarding, because we need to effectively work as a collective rather than independently, because there is a serious risk to life and limb which overrides those things. So I can see how you can justify this collective partnership role effectively to an outside observer, because you're going to say, look, at the end of the day, look, there's a serious risk of life which we're all interested in avoiding, like basically somebody dying, and so therefore we work in a collective or a partnership or irrespective, but we work jointly in order to safeguard and protect the interest of the people. All right, I understand that, but effectively there's another interpretation that you work effectively, and in my particular circumstances, that you effectively work together not to protect and safeguard the vulnerable individual, but to actually safeguard your own interest, because I'm looking to hold you to account for systemic failures in adult social care. But moving away from this is not what concerns me. I understand this as a point of contention, but moving away from this, can you understand what is the justification of Bradford Council and the Office of the Public Guardian having a similar kind of relationship?
I don't know. I can't answer that.
Okay, because effectively, there's what we say and what is actually the reality, or what's the effect of situation. Because under these circumstances, the Office of the Public Guardian, which is a separate entity from yourself, has instructed you, the Bradford Council, to deliver letters on their behalf. So therefore it shows me that Bradford Council effectively and the Office of the Public Guardian effectively are working in collaboration and as a collective. But what concerns me even further from this, Mr. Browell, is this, that is the underlining problem I am having in many, many different aspects. So, for example, this very same scenario between you as a Bradford Council employee working in the city mental health team, which can be identified, and working under the Bradford District Care Trust and working in a collective under some vague abstract term of safeguarding, is being replicated in other domains. So, for example, this letter that you've given me now evidences to me on paper that the Office of the Public Guardian and the local authority are effectively one collective, working in partnership, or whether jointly, or whatever arrangement. I don't think that is lawful, because this letter or any letters by the Office of the Public Guardian should have been delivered directly through a process server and at cost to the Office of the Public Guardian. But because of cost savings, I believe that the Office of the Public Guardian and the local authority are effectively working as one organisation. Alright, under, I believe, the instruction or direction from Bradford Council, whom I have had, obviously, as you're aware, a long-standing conflicted relationship with. But what concerns me more than this, and what is the reality that I'm facing, is that this aspect of an external agency effectively giving up their control to you, the local authority, is replicated in many other dimensions and domains, or many other organizations, where they effectively, you the local authority, without sounding too conspiratorial, take effective possession, demonic possession over the other entities. That's effectively what I am seeing here, because that is replicated in Bradford Council and the GP practices. Because there's no point, that's exactly what's happened with the GP practices. The GP practices are effectively now acting as proxy agents for Bradford Council, and they're taking instructions and directions from Bradford Council. Similarly, as the Office of the Public Guardian, as you're saying, has directed this to be delivered. The Office of the Public Guardian has asked these to be delivered because the council are taking a lead upon persecuting and victimizing both me and my family. But in extension to this is exactly what I find has happened with the housing association. The housing association are effectively working not independently under their own autonomy or under their own direction, but effectively they are acting as proxy agents for you, the local authority, where you have effectively taken demonic possession, or I don't want to use the term demonic possession, but you understand the term, like taking control of something like a vehicle. So I think a good example would be a vehicle. So the local authority is taking control of the Bradford District Care Trust as a vehicle, and they're in the driving seat and driving the vehicle. So outside it looks like it's the NHS vehicle, as per the letter that I've received from you today. But the driver, the controller, or the director of that institution is you, the local council. And effectively, that's exactly what's happened previously, where the local council, Bradford Council, have told the Office of the Public Guardian to hand over their control to the local authority, so that they can take possession and control of them. And that's where we're finding ourselves today in this call. But this seems to be like a recurring theme between Bradford Council and, let's say, our GP practices. So there are three or four GP practices where, in my experience, that's exactly what's happened in my particular circumstances. So in the case of my mother, the local authority took control and possession over Dr. Kara at Bark Rent Centre, where Dr. Kara had attended with the social worker Kosa Begum, under their instructions. The local authority, Bradford Council, have also taken instructions of Dr. Bagh of our Medical Centre, where they're now taking instructions from Bradford Council. The Bradford Council have also taken control and possession of Peel Park Surgery in Bradford, and chosen to take control and directed them as a vehicle in order to drive them to their agenda. But more importantly, what surprises me is that Bradford Council have also taken control and possession over Sun Valley practice in Oldham, and then now Greenbank practice in Oldham. So you've taken demon possession or control over these external organizations. But that's not just in isolation. Not only is it in isolation with the GP practices or the Office of the Public Guardian or the Housing Association, what I found in my experience is that this model of taking demon possession and control and making the other organizations subservient is also happened with the Department of Work and Pensions. Because as you may or may not be aware, in August this year, the Department of Work and Pensions have unilaterally suspended my carers allowance without even informing me, and then chose to inform me back in October. So something malevolent has obviously happened in August this year, where the local authority, having procured a court order from the Court of Protection, all right, which was issued out, I believe, on the 6th of August. So something's happened in August where the local authority is acting with malevolence and control. So that's an issue of concern. So not only have they taken demon possession or control, effective control over the Department of Work and Pensions, I feel, and the Court of Protection, but they've also taken demon possession and control over my own solicitors in my mother's case. But those are concerning aspects for me. Now, coming back to the point of the Housing Association and our last conversation, the local authority have obviously taken demon possession control of the Housing Association, who are not engaging with me but are using their solicitors, which is the DWP, to act as proxy agents for the council. So in August, the Housing Association that had recommenced proceedings had instructed their solicitors, I believe on behalf of Bradford Council, to do a gas safety inspection. And as a result of that gas safety inspection, the case was an injunction order was sought by the Housing Association solicitor through the court and tribunals, which was fast-tracked, and there were malevolent and duplicitous actions being taken, whereby the 30th of September, an injunction order has been granted in the absence of either me or my brother Talib's attendance. So there now exists an injunction order against Talib to grant us access to the property, so that the Housing Association can gain entry to do a gas safety inspection. So that obviously, as you're aware, occurred on the 12th of October, where the Housing Association had received an injunction order, or secured an injunction order, I believe malevolently, in order to enter the property. But once they had entered the property with threats of penal notices, I had informed them that that a gas safety inspection has been privately done by me and therefore entry is not allowed. Now, what is the pivotal point here is that on the 13th of October, you've been given a safeguarding alert that there's obviously concern. I've asked, and you attended on the 14th of October. And then by the 15th of October, I've received a court order. The court order that you've delivered to us today was first given to me or delivered to me or presented to me on the 15th of October. So something happened in October where attempts were being made, I believe, malevolently by Bradford Council to instigate a process whereby the police would have got involved and a welfare check would have been necessary. That all, as you know, did not materialize. Having known the fact that the local authority not only does demon possession control over these corporate organizations, but had equally instructed my niece, Shagufta Biosin, to attend the property, no doubt to enter the property to raise a false flag alert. Alright, so that she first contacted us on the 11th of September looking to gain entry. That access was not granted to her, and then by the 7th of October we visited, I tried to visit her and we had arranged an appointment where she could see Talib. So therefore I've advised you previously that Talib's not being withheld from society as your allegations may be. He's been visited by our relative Shagufta on the 7th of October. But however, so subsequently, in the failure of Shagufta being able to raise a false flag safeguarding alert regarding concerns from my brother Talib, the attempts were being made by the housing association to trigger a false flag safeguarding alert, which you became aware of. Nothing of that materialized. Then subsequently, on the 8th of November, our relationship was put to an end. This is the first time I'm making you aware that I believe something happened to us on that Friday following speaking to you, because we visited our brother Adalat, whom I'm sure you the council have equally taken demon possession and control of, and he attempted to give us some food. Now, luckily for me, my brother Talib did not consume that food, but that food was poisoned, and I believe my brother has attempted to poison me. Alright, under instructions by you, the council. Now, obviously, can you understand, we're getting to a very extreme level of malevolence where I believe at this stage that you, the local, not you personally, Mr. Browell, because obviously you're only one component. You're only remitted to do one small thing. And I don't think you, as an employee of the council, are in the decision maker. But I believe and hold the opinion that the decision maker in the council, whoever that may be, at a senior level, which may be Kirsten England or even somebody that he's taking instructions from, have now attempted to deliberately attempted to end my life in November last year. Luckily for me that I survived that, but obviously I have documented the attempt on my life. Now, subsequently from that failed attempt, because had my brother consumed that food, that poisoned food that Adalat had given us, I feel that could have seriously endangered my brother's life, because my brother's obviously, as you're aware, a weak and vulnerable person. I'm a very strong person, and I was able to take on board with the poison, and it obviously affected me, but I recovered from that. But my brother did not consume the food. And so therefore had he consumed the food that was poisoned and given to us by Adalat, and I believe under instructions from Bradford Council, then that would have exposed him at a great deal of risk, because we've basically he's got no access to a hospital or a doctor right now because everything's up in the air. And had he had gone into hospital, I believe that much like in my mother's case, malevolent attempts would have been made to take demon possession and control over emergency services to the detriment of my brother. Luckily, that all has not happened, and me and my brother are doing well. But then subsequently, there was an issue regarding what happened on the 30th of October, where injunction orders are now being sought effectively to exactly what's happened with what you've asked for in the letter on the 19th of December. An injunction order has been sought by the Housing Association to carry out a mental capacity assessment for Talib through an injunction order to gain entry to the property with 3 days notice. So when I received your letter on the 19th of December, it's exactly what the housing association have looked to procure through an injunction order under, I believe, direction from you. So when you say to me there's no malevolence or nothing underhanded, Mr. Browell, you have to understand that is like factual, that's intellectually dishonest, because the reality is that we're at a situation now where we are homeless, destitute, penniless, attempts are being made to take our life. Why would the local authority go through all this length and breadth? And I've made you previously aware that substantial funds have been taken away from this property. The most expensive of which is my Bitcoin wallet, consisting of over 1,100 Bitcoins. Now, should that I take legal action against you, which I obviously intend to do, then that is a sum in excess of, I think, 56 million pounds. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Bitcoin valuations, but there's been some problems with the Bitcoin currency exchange, TFX, which is basically, I don't want to digress into Bitcoin and the costs of what's happened in the industry of cryptocurrencies, but everything's been it's been basically crashing. And so the value has now dropped. So when I spoke to you previously, I have made you aware of this to make the managers aware that when I made you aware, I think in October, that a Bitcoin wallet has been stolen with over 20 million pounds. That was the value then. Unfortunately, something's happened in November in the cryptocurrency world, which has dropped the value further down. But my argument is that in November last year, the cryptocurrency was at its highest, which would have equated to 56 million pounds. All right. Now I think it's come down all the way to like 15 million pounds or something. So there's been that fluctuation in the cryptocurrency. Now I hold the fact that the local authority are accountable for the high and responsible for the its height of cost. So that's just a cryptocurrency wallet. In the absence of the fact that £1,000, I believe, has been taken from my bedroom, that's not been returned to us. My mother's jewelry has not been returned to us. So there is a substantial financial dimension that's justifying the local authority effectively trying to take us out. All right, and that attempt has been made. And obviously, I'm at a loss. I've only had to report that to my own GP and my brother Talib's GP, because I'm reluctant to report it to anybody else, considering that I believe the local authority even take demon possession control over the police as well. So all these things are still ongoing. All right, and at this time, the local authority are instructing you to come down to see my brother. Now, obviously, I've made you fully aware of what's been happening to me and updated you quite fully, because I've not had an opportunity to do so when we last spoke on Monday, because of the fact that you were attending to come and visit my brother, and this was, I feel, an act of aggression or an act of harassment. But so now I've made you fully aware of subsequently when we spoke in November, there have been many other concurrent things happening, namely the possession proceeding by the housing association. In the outside world, there's been a economic crisis in the cryptocurrency world. There's been obviously a cost of living crisis, which we're having to deal with. Obviously, I've now been made aware that in March, you, the local authority, are looking to take the property of 10 Thornbury Avenue away from my brother, which you have also mentioned to me in the past. Yet I've now become aware that you're looking to take that property away because you've got this court order. So there's a whole host of malevolence taking place. But and those are outside your scope. But with regards to you coming down in a 3-day notice, which is exactly what happened in the court order sought by the housing association, can you please tell me what problems have I identified with you coming to visit my brother in the past, which you should be fully aware of? What is the problem of you coming to visit my brother Talib?
You've said that it can cause upset to Talib if we kind of turn up unannounced. So that's why I've sent a letter and tried to let you know that we'll be visiting. So it feels difficult to know what the right thing is to do and how I'd be able to see Talib, because you know, there doesn't seem to be a way where I'd be able to meet with him and talk with him in any way. So.
But you know, Mr. Browell, we've had this conversation numerous times, all of which are recorded. You know that's not factually true. It's not the case that my brother gets upset if you come down unannounced. Alright, that's what you're saying to me. My brother does not want to engage with you. Alright? Which you've accepted that everybody has a right to say no or refuse. So it is my brother who is refusing to engage with you, and I've explained to you the reasons why he's refusing to engage with you. And just for your reference and purposes, I'm going to reiterate them because there seems to be some sort of cognitive dissonance or a loss in your part. In August 2018, my brother was kidnapped by City Mental Health Team and forcibly held in unlawful care and custody at the Linfield Mount Hospital, alright, where the local authority, your manager Vicina Brown at the time, had come down and with the police and abducted my brother from our home and was forcibly keeping him under at the mental hospital and refused to let me visit him, alright. And then you, the local authority, at the end of August, then instigated legal proceedings where Vicina Brown had lied and tried to make false allegations that I had been, you know, not giving him medication and so on and so forth, and attempted to remove me as nearest relative, and attempted not and continued so I could not see my brother indefinitely. So my brother knows the fact that you, the City Mental Health Team, have previously unlawfully kidnapped him and forced him into your care and custody at Linfield Mount Hospital, where you had sectioned him under Section 2, and then I believe that you proceeded to section him under Section 3 then or previously. I don't think it was Section 3 then, but my brother's previously been sectioned under Section 3. So my brother understands the fact that you have abused him in the past. He's fully aware and cognizant of the fact that you, the local authority, have murdered our mother. You, the local authority, have not let him see his mother. You know, and I tell my brother everything because, you know, I've told you he's fully cognizant of what's happening to him. He's just a vulnerable adult with mental health problems. Alright, that does not mean that he does not lack capacity to understand what's happening. So he's very alarmed and he's scared and he's telling me, I'm scared, please don't leave me. Alright, I don't want to go with these people are going to endanger my life. So as far as he believes and understands, you may just say, oh, I've never seen Mr. Talib Hussain before and I'm just somebody new. But we are not dumb, we are not stupid. We understand that you are acting as proxy agents for the local authority who have been persecuting and victimizing and degrading and humiliating us as a family. So when you say, oh, I'm just so we have, like, my brother has an understanding anybody who's not my family is a threat to me. Alright? So that's what he understands. So anybody who says, look, I'm a professional and I'm a doctor, or I'm a professional, I'm a justice or a judge, it means irrelevant to Talib. Alright? The Queen or the Prince Charles himself can come down from Buckingham Palace to see my brother and say, look, I'm the king of this country and I am obviously, you know, benevolent. My brother would still not accept a visit from the king of the country, alright? Because he understands that all those people, most likely Caucasian people, white people in positions of power and authority, are abusing us, alright? So he feels alarmed and distressed simply by in the presence of people that he does not recognize or understand that are not his family. Alright? And that then results in him becoming highly distressed. Alright? Which the net effect of him, which is that he becomes highly constipated. As a result of him becoming highly constipated, he will not have a bowel movement for 4 to 5 or 6 weeks. And then when he does have a bowel movement, it's overflow, which means the fact that for several days he's not able to control his overflow of bowel movement, which defecates all his clothes, everything, which is an adverse effect upon me. Alright? Right now, as you are aware fully that if something was to happen to Talib today, right now, today, 22nd of December 2022, we cannot ring the ambulance up. And the reason that we can't ring an ambulance up because the ambulance are on strike. If my brother today is taken to hospital, there's nobody that can care for him because all the nurses are on strike. Okay, today, 22nd of December 2022. Alright? So your attempts to visit my brother are effectively endangering his life. Because if you had come to visit my brother as you're intending to do, I know the consequences because I've been my brother Talib's carer formally since January 2022, since January 2002. I've been informally his carer since 2000, so for 22 years. Alright? For 22 years, I'm an expert. Alright? I've got a doc. You should call me Dr. Shazad Hussain in regards to the fact that I'm a doctor in regards to Talib, because I could have got a doctorate. For 22 years, I know everything about Talib, my brother, whom I'm his carer for. His smallest things, his largest things, I know about. I could have got a doctorate in the subject of caring for Talib. Alright? Because I've been doing it for 22 years. Now, in relation to my brother, these are the effects that I'm trying to avoid because it causes me alarm and distress and great hardship. It causes my brother, effectively endangers my brother's life. So the fact that you had arranged to come down today to see my brother, luckily, you've not been able to gain access and you've not been able to see my brother. But had the local authority instructed the housing association to grant the order of the 30th of November, which I have not received as yet, but should that order have been placed, and should you have come down today on the 22nd with an injunction order to gain access to the property, can you understand that that would have effectively endangered my brother's life?
I can understand your reasoning, Shazad. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I can understand what you're saying.
But you don't agree with me because of why? I've told you I'm an expert on this situation. You, sir, with respect, don't even know my brother. You can't even speak his language. You've only met him once. So how can you're not an expert, are you, on the situation? You may be very competent in your job, but with regards to Talib, would it be fair to say that if you've only met the person briefly on one occasion, alright, several months ago, where you did not speak to him in his own language, and he tried to speak to you in his own language, and I acted as an interpreter, that as far as Talib is concerned, you have no knowledge of him, do you? Or the situation?
No, I don't.
Yes.
No, you're right.
And so conversely, I, as I've explained, who knows Talib and as an expert, and I'm saying that I could be classified, I could get a doctorate in the subject, and at the highest level of expertise, I know the situation. So when I say the fact that, my brother, would suffer adversely and could end up in hospital, that's not something that I'm pulling out of thin air. That comes with experience. And that experience, experience, I can evidence to you. Because, let me just explain this. On the 28th of February this year, alright, 28th of February this year, you, the local authority, in collaboration with the Office of the Public Guardian, had secured an injunction order to get Talib for Dr. Todd to come and do a mental capacity assessment for my brother Talib on the 27th or the 28th of February this year. When this information was relayed to my brother, he became so alarmed and distressed that he actually fainted, and I had to take him to hospital. And as a result of me taking him to hospital, alright, we had to wait there for 14 hours. That was in February, on the main notion that there was nothing I could do, and that he would have to go in front of somebody who he fears, namely Dr. Todd, and have a mental capacity assessment taken out, where Dr. Todd had previously done a mental capacity assessment on my mother and resulted in her dying a month earlier. So can you understand how not just my brother, but any rational person, any rational or reasonable person, given those circumstances, who suffers from hypertension and anxiety, could have reacted in that manner? Because I told him that there's nothing I can do. They're forcing me, so you have to see this doctor. Alright? And he then was very, very, he started to have a mental breakdown. Somebody already has mental health problems, and he ended up in hospital. Now, is that something that I'm making up to you now today on the spot?
If you say that you took Talib to hospital, yeah, I believe
No, Mr. Browell, no. You have evidence in front of you because your manager Vicina Brown had directly contacted on the telephone to the GP practice in Oldham asking about this, and they had informed you that we have been attempting to see Mr. Hussein because we have received a referral from Oldham Hospital, and we are asking for blood tests to be done. So you cannot say to me that's something I am making up. It's an undeniable fact, an undisputable fact on my brother's Talib's record, which your manager, Vicina Brown, is fully appraised and made aware of, that my brothers ended up in hospital on the 28th of February 2022 as a result, effectively, of Dr. Nicholas Todd and Bradford Council, in collaboration with the Office of the Public Guardian, forcing him to have a mental capacity assessment done to visit him. Alright, so that is a recorded, undisputable fact, not something I'm just saying and that you're going to have to take my word for. Alright, it's something that is in his records, is both his records at the trust with yourself, is something that the Bradford Council is fully made aware of, and it's something that, the doctors whom you've been liaising in the background are fully aware of. So that is a fact and a reality. So,
can we finish this phone call soon, Shazad, please?
Yeah, no, that's fair enough, Mr. Browell. But you've effectively come down under instructions, which I'm obviously telling you, that you've endangered my brother's life, and you're saying if I say so. So can you understand when I say?
I'm following instructions that have been passed on to me from the Office of the Public Guardian. I am being given instructions to try and follow. That's all.
Okay. With respect, Mr. Browell, can I ask what your age is?
How old I am?
Yeah.
I'm 46.
Okay, so you and I were pretty much of the same age. I'm 45. Okay, so so you're fully aware when it comes to court processes, and you're fully aware of. Are you fully aware of the Nuremberg trials?
I think so. Yeah, I've heard of them. Yeah.
All right. So the Nuremberg trials were.
I know when you spoke about this, when people are giving instructions and it being a flawed system or a malignant system and things like that. Yeah. So you don't need to explain.
All right. So thank you. I don't need to explain that. So when you're saying to me, I'm simply following instructions. When I'm saying those instructions are endangering my brother's life, all right, you're saying, well, I don't care. So, this is where I'm saying diminished responsibility. The reason I make that reference is because diminished responsibility through willful ignorance is no defense in law. You've told me that you're following instructions from the Office of the Public Guardian regarding a court matter. I've not mentioned the courts. You've mentioned courts. So I'm telling you, in relation to court matters, you personally, Mr. Christopher Browell, are accountable for your actions. Because in the West, all right, we don't operate like this. We don't work like the Nazis. That we're simply following instructions. In
reasonable circumstances, it shouldn't cause such drastic effects on people. Just knocking on someone's door and asking to speak.
Yes, you're right. You're right, Mr. Browell. You're absolutely right. Under normal circumstances. Now, but you as an intelligent person will understand that nothing with regards to me and my brother is normal, is it? When I've just explained to you for the first time now, because I've not had an opportunity to explain to you previously, that we've just been, attempts have been made to poison and murder us. Alright? So we are most definitely not under normal circumstances. So where we're not under normal circumstances, extreme caution and care needs to be taken. Alright? So when you're saying yes, you're right. So can you understand that, like for example, under normal circumstances, something like a gun or an axe can be used to murder somebody. But so something like a paper clip can be weaponized to kill somebody as well. Alright? So under normal circumstances, paper, a court order. So what I'm trying to say here is that, under normal circumstances, you're saying a knock on the door does not end up endangering somebody's life. You're right, under normal circumstances, that's not the case. But we are under exceptional circumstances. I've just explained to you at great length that visiting my brother would endanger my brother's life. I've gone on and proceeded to explain to you that the visit for today, the 22nd of December, would have clearly endangered his life. And you know why it would have endangered his life? Primarily because today on the 22nd of December, you can't go to hospital. That's not usual, is it? That's not usual. You are aware today that the ambulance services are striking.
Yes.
Okay, so you are aware that today the hospital, the nurses are striking?
I don't know, I think people can still attend A&E. You might need to get a taxi or something like that.
Okay. Mr. Browell, I've explained to you that on the 28th of February this year, that my brother attended hospital. There was no strikes then. There was no, there was no cost of living crisis then. There was no, general walkout in the postal service or any of the striking. And even under those circumstances, my brother had to wait. Me and my brother had to wait 14 hours to get seen by a doctor. So that would be then now classed as normal. That would then be.
I'm making note of everything that you say. I think because we weren't able to see Talib, we then need to kind of report back to the Office of the Public Guardian. I'll include what you're saying. I can include that you're saying that it's trying to see Talib is endangering his life. I can include that we've tried to visit on a day when there are strikes. I can read
Look, Mr. Browell. All right, we looked to end the call, but I did arrange this call with you via email. That I would be calling. That I would like to rearrange our time for rather than the visit to a telephone call. Number one, and number two is that I've today made you aware of further information. All right, particularly what concerns me is the attempt by my brother to murder us. All right, that is a very serious safeguarding issue, is it not?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah. Okay. So now attempt has been made to murder my brother indirectly through.
If you think someone's poisoned you, I think you need to speak to the police.
Yes, but the thing is, you're right. What's the police going to do if the police are equally acting with malevolence and acting as a proxy agent? Do you think, Mr. Browell, you're telling me to report this to West Yorkshire Police? I take it.
Yeah.
Okay. West Yorkshire Police gets funding from Bradford Council. Yes.
Okay.
All right. I've reported my attempts on because for a period of time we were living in Oldham. So I reported the fact that my mother's life is going to endanger. Somebody's going to murder my mother in September, October, prior to her death, to Greater Manchester Police. And to my surprise and absolute disgust, Manchester Police are effectively acting as proxy agents for Bradford Council as well. So it doesn't matter who I turn to. All right. All I can do effectively is make people aware of this and record it for my reference purposes. Because whatever's happening now, the world will not remain like this. The local authority will not always remain in power and control like this. Just like the Nazi party was not always going to remain in a position of power and authority. That's all I can do. I'm making you aware that my brother Adalat and I tell you the date. We last spoke on the 8th of November. That was, I think, on Monday or a Tuesday. By the Friday, my brothers told us to come down, all right, because I needed to speak to him regarding the court orders. Because obviously he's a party to the court orders. So the party in the court orders that you're mentioning that you've come down, my brother Adalat is a respondent in those court proceedings. So I was then having to go down to see him regarding the court orders. He's told us to come down. He's given us some food, and retrospectively we've trusted him. All right, I've trusted him. He's my brother. He's not going to poison me. All right, that's just such a stupid thing to do. But yeah, that's effectively what's happened. Now, obviously, I've reported this. I've reported it to my GP. I reported it to my brother's GP. All right. I've refused to report it to the police at this moment in time because I've made numerous reports to the police previously regarding endangerment of my brother's life, and the police are effectively not doing anything. West Yorkshire Police are basically the local authorities' puppet. All right. The housing association are effectively the local authorities' puppet. The GP practices are effectively the local authorities' puppet. The Office of the Public Guardian is the Office of the local authorities' puppet. The Court of Protection and the judges and the judiciary and the court and tribunal are the local authorities' puppet. But more importantly, my niece Shagufta B is the local authorities' puppet. My sister Shaida B is the local authorities' puppet. My brother Adalat Hussain is the local authorities' puppet. Pardon?
Okay.
Yeah?
I couldn't hear you then.
Okay, so I'm saying everybody's effectively, taking instructions, just like you are, taking instructions from the council, but you have a right to do so because I know that you're an employee of Bradford Council. My brother Adalat, who's not an employee of Bradford Council, why is he taking instructions to poison us? Why is my niece Shagufta B taking instructions from Bradford Council to visit us so she can raise a false flag safeguarding alert? regarding my brother Adalat. Why is my sister Shaida B taking instructions from Bradford Council in order to effectively end our mother's life and for the local authority to utilise her? Mr. Browell, look, you and I, we've had many conversations in the past. Do you know the fact that I'm an intelligent person, articulated person, and a determined person? More importantly, I've recorded everything, and I'm going to make everybody aware that this is what you're doing to us. As a council, I can't speak to you, the council, yet you get your agents, such as Mr. Browell, to come and speak to us and come to our house and gain entry to us, effectively trying to end our life because you have been failing in adult social care. So, Mr. Browell, you can take instructions and we can speak another time if this is not convenient. But I've attempted to speak to your manager, Mr. Mohammed Fayaz, alright, who's given me 2 hours to speak to him so I can inform him what's happening, and now all of a sudden he's refusing to speak to me yet attending my house.
Well, that was the point, is that we were part of the reason for us attending your house, so you could kind of voice your concerns and we could listen to see how we could help you.
Yeah, but you could do that over the telephone. We've told you coming to our house is effectively just coming to our house and knocking on our door is now classified as harassment. So can you understand that certain innocuous things are, like, for example, sending a text message saying I love you, alright? Me sending a text message to you or sending an email to you saying to you I love you. Can you understand? That's a nice thing, isn't it? I'm sure you tell your wife or partner you love her. But can you understand, if I send you that is malevolent, no? Why would I send you something expressions of love? It's inappropriate, isn't it? Similarly, something that may sound innocuous or just a matter of fact not serious, you have to look at it in the context. Alright? In the context of what? If my brother Adalat sends me a text message saying he loves me, when in the context the fact that he's tried to murder us, can you understand? Context is very important. So when you say to me, we've attempted to come down today in order for you to express your concerns to us directly face to face, and we've told you don't harass us, leave us alone, you're threatening us, you're intimidating us, you're attempting to murder us, we feel threatened by you, and you're saying, no, we just came down. Why would Mr. Fayaz not speak to me on the telephone? Why?
I don't know.
Mr. I have to stop talking.
I think he spoke with you for 2 hours, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I mean, as myself, unfortunately, we're quite busy, and he probably wouldn't be able to dedicate another 2 hours.
How busy are you? You're busy, not refusing to telephone me, but you're getting in your car, wasting public money on public expense, coming down to our door, knowing the fact that we would not open the door because we feel threatened.
I telephoned you earlier today.
I know, but you did come down. But you did come down as well when you know the fact that these things can be resolved over the telephone. In the past, you've come down for it.
I've been told the serving of those papers couldn't be resolved over the telephone.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's fair enough. You can find one pretext or another pretext, but the bottom line remains that you've come down not just on this first occasion. You've come down previously on Monday as well to deliver a letter without telephoning me. All right. And so therefore, like for you to say you're very busy, there are vulnerable people out there in the community that your time and resources are best spent serving, because their lives are in danger due to the social economic crisis and all the other stuff, all right? You're not dealing with them, but you're spending an exorbitant amount of your time and resources dealing with me, and at the same time you're financially plundering and profiteering from us, and you're saying that we're very busy. What is the underlying theme that we've told you? Sorry to use this language, fuck off and leave us alone. That's what we've been telling you from day one. Yet you're the ones that are insisting to involving yourself with us. Now all of a sudden you want to involve yourself as being financial representatives of my brother, when there's, as you know, he has mental capacity, and you've defrauded and bought up District Judge Beckley and got a malevolent court order where we've not received a final order. We didn't even attend this order. So this instrument that you've come to deliver us. Now you're going to say, no, it's just a piece of paper. This is an instrument of death. You've weaponized court orders effectively to murder us. Now, this court order that you've got, we didn't attend this court order at the end of May, right? It was not, and even if there was a court hearing at the end of May, like a final hearing. We should have been invited. My brother Adalat should have been invited. None of us got invited. The judge stamped this because through his collusion on prostituting out his services to you, the Bradford Council. District Judge Beckley in London is effectively working as the council's proxy agent through demon possession and control. So he's put an order through. Dated, the date is the 21st, the 31st of May. We didn't attend, nobody attended. My sister Zaid is a respondent, I'm a respondent, my brother Adalat's a respondent, my brother Talib should have been a respondent. Nobody attended this court hearing, alright? An order was made. Then the order was not issued out until August, alright? Until the 6th of August. So that's June, July, 2 months later, the order's been issued out. We didn't receive this order. We didn't receive the order until October, alright? So you're telling me that we're just coming to deliver an order. This order effectively is an atomic bomb. So you've attempted to deliver a bomb to us to explode. Effectively, because it's a paper instrument. The effects are exactly the same. You may act that, oh look, I'm just not doing anything, we're just following orders, but effectively you're endangering our life, and this is a reality where you, the local authority, have previously abducted my mother, and me and my brother could not see her. You've murdered her by giving her forcibly giving her a vaccine, and she's died within days. You've now had an inquest into how she's died, considering that you had pursued all these actions. And the bottom line, Mr. Browell, is this today: that the reason that these are not final orders is because now you, the local authority, need a pretext. You're so desperately needing a pretext to say that I'm not caring for my brother, so you can instigate care proceedings. So this is about now instigating care proceedings, so you can say, oh, she's not looking after him properly, and so we're now going to use the money that we've collected from his trust fund. We're going to sell his property, and we're going to put my brother Talib into a care home, which are closing down, one of your partners, and spend all that money. This is all to do with money fraud and deception. This is all to do with exploiting money from us. And then you say to us, we're very busy. You're very busy doing what? Plotting, planning and conspiring to persecute and victimize not just me, but the community that you serve in order to financially plunder and profiteer. We want nothing to do with you. We've told you, you're not in a position to care for my brother. The hospitals today are not in a position to provide any kind of health support services. They should close down, but they can't do that because they get NHS funding. So rather than going down, they're going on strikes and endangering people's lives. So this is a failure in the society outside. I'm the only one that's holding everything together, and I'm the one that's charging you, the local authority, £1 million a week, which you seem to not acknowledge, which you don't want to deal with. You're saying we're not going to pay that money, but we're going to persecute and victimize us. Mr. Browell, the key question here you must be asking is not the ridiculousness of the statement that I charge £1 million a week to care for my brother or my mother or anybody else. That's not the question. The question is, what lengths are you, the Bradford Council, willing to go to get out of paying that money? Are you willing to buy off the judges? Yes, you are. Are you willing to undermine the whole British judicial system? Yes, you are. Are you willing to undermine the whole British Constitution? Yes, you are. Are you willing to murder vulnerable people? Yes, you are. These are the lengths that you're willing to go to in order to cover up your systemic failures in adult social care, and then you're telling me that you're busy. You're busy doing what? You're busy murdering people. That's all it is, Mr. Brown. I'm exhausted too. I want to bring this call to an end. When can we speak next?
I don't know. I would say the week after next week, maybe, because it's a short week next week. Could we speak in the new year?
I think speaking in the new year is the best thing, but once again, it's regarding your template of speaking to us every 2 weeks, which serves your agenda. I'm not preventing you, preventing access to my brother. We'll make that clear. I'm now going to have to pursue this in the court, to the courts, of why that statement has been made by you in the hearing on the 30th of November. But in the interim, do you clearly understand why it is most reasonable and acceptable that under these circumstances that it's inappropriate for you to see my brother? Do you understand that?
I understand that that's what you're saying, Shazad, and you're saying that on Talib's behalf, and you're saying that those are also the views of Talib. So I'm happy to kind of document that's the case.
You're using rhetoric here. I'm asking you a simple question. That it's not. I mean, how can I evidence it? Do you want it from Talib's mouth? So other than you having it from Talib's mouth, you're not willing to accept anything else. There's an element of doubt in your mind. Yes? That maybe I'm making it up. Alright, maybe...
I think that's the difficulty. Without being able to see Talib in person, it's difficult to 100% be the opinion of what you say.
Okay, alright, fair enough. So you feel as an employee of Bradford Council that visiting my brother is of paramount importance to you as a representative of Bradford Council, yes?
No, to be honest, not really, no. As I said, and without going back to, as you were saying, following instructions, I'm kind of giving instructions. I need to do my best to try and follow those instructions. If that doesn't work out, then I can then go back and say this is the outcome of trying to follow the instructions.
Okay, alright. Because then after your...
So I'm happy with that as an outcome, to be honest.
Okay, alright. Well, fair enough, Mr. Browell. Yeah. But can you understand that your need on because you're not coming on your personal need. You're coming on our instructions from Bradford Council as proxy agents for Kirsten England. Alright. So when Bradford Council wants to come and see somebody, they'll come down to our door. They'll get injunction orders to come and see the person. But can you understand? Was it not necessary for me to see my own mother?
I don't know, Shazad, yeah.
Yeah, obviously, what do you mean you don't know? She was my mother.
We said 10-20 minutes ago we'd end the conversation.
Yeah, all right, let me just...
I'm sorry, I can't comment on that.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. You, the council, prevented me from seeing my own mother when there's never been established that I harmed or hurt her in any way other than what you had contrived and bought off by the judges saying that I financially abused her when I had been a DWP appointee. So obviously when you're saying one thing, that I'm acting unreasonably, I feel that you, the council, are acting very, very unreasonably and malevolently and basically demonic because you're taking demon possession control over people. But we not get... I had to see my mother through Skype. Why can't you see my brother through Skype? Why can't you be satisfied? Because all I'm trying to do is my brother... Look, can you understand the conflicted position I'm being put in? On the one hand, you're telling me that I like to see my brother and hear this from my brother. My brother's telling me I don't want to see them. So tell me, what am I supposed to do here? Help assist me of a way forward. My brother's saying he doesn't want to see us. It causes him a lot of distress. He can end up in hospital. I'm suffering the consequences of that. You're saying, well, we want to hear it from the horse's mouth. Yeah, on your side, the horse's mouth doesn't even want to speak to me. Why does Kirsten England, why does Parveen Akhtar, who's now previous city solicitor, not want to speak to me directly? So you don't want to speak to me directly. You, the council, have agents, proxy agents, one of which is you, Mr. Browell. But yet you want to speak from the horse's mouth. And my brother effectively has told you, your predecessors, fuck off and leave us alone. How is that not harassment?
Like I say, all I can do is relay that information, and hopefully at some point, the people who give me instructions will stop giving me those instructions, and that will be quite a good day, to be honest with you.
It'll be a good day to you, good day for you, and it'll be a good day for me as well. Alright, but more importantly, Mr. Browell, nobody should force you as an employee to do anything that you feel uncomfortable with. And the very fact that I've made you aware that you're endangering your instructions, the execution of your instructions are endangering me and my brother's life, and I've gone at length to explain this to you, and you're continuing to take those instructions, there'll be personal liability for you personally as well. Alright, so I'm just making you aware of this. These circumstances are not going to remain like this forever. And a question one day inevitably will be asked of you is that if you knew that those instructions that you were following, that you had an inclination or you felt uncomfortable, but you still did them, alright, there's accountability on your part. Just like there's an accountability on everybody else's part in the fact that my mother's died. So lo and behold, if my brother is to die tomorrow under unusual circumstances, that my mother's died under unusual circumstances, do you think your hands are clean? You're personally going to say, well, I was just following instructions. There will be a reckoning. I assure you, there will be a reckoning to what the local authority are doing to me and my family. That will be made public. You're aware that all these calls are being recorded. It is my ultimate endeavor to make everybody aware that you, the local authority, are committing fascist acts of intimidation and aggression and murdering my family members. All right. So for you to say, well, that'll be a good day, nobody's putting a gun to your head or forcing you to be my brother's care coordinator, are they? Why do you think the predecessors have left? Why do you think the Baljit Nota is no longer on this case? Everybody has left. All right? Why do you think Parveen Akhtar, the city solicitor, has left? All right? Everybody does not want to be involved in this case because everybody knows there's something seriously wrong in this case. That people are dying. What I'm saying is not acting like a lunatic. The only thing I've said is about my own remuneration costs. All right? There are malevolent things taking place. You've got an order in front of you. All right? That you've come and delivered to us, which makes no sense. How can a final order be made when my brother had no involvement in this and now you're taking control of his finances? So, Mr. Browell, like I said, I'm getting tired of this call as well. I'm going to leave the matter with yourself. All right, it is your personal responsibility to continue to be my brother's care coordinator, or alternatively, you can say, I don't want to be his care coordinator. All right, that's your personal choice. But irrespective, an accountability will happen. There will be a reckoning. All right, you, the local authority, will be brought to account for the malevolent actions that you're taking. Those are your choices. Nobody's putting a gun to your head. I know these are desperate times, and I'm sure you've got children to feed and family to support yourself. But at no time should you be doing things that are endangering people's lives. And if after this call, any third party can assess that after what I've explained to you, that you're endangering me and my brother's life, and you continue to come down and say we're just following instructions, well, that's upon you, Mr. Browell. Thank you very much, Mr. Browell. I hope to speak to you in the new year. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we will continue hopefully in the new year.
Okay, Shazak. All the best. Happy New Year. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so this guy, he's telling me I'm just following instructions, I've not done anything, when the reality is that those instructions that they're following are endangering my brother's life, endangering my life. This is a very comprehensive call today. So that's obviously, I've updated them about their attempt on my life, which is a very serious matter. The fact that my Bitcoin wallet has been stolen, that's a very serious matter. And yet in the background, the matters are still being persecuted by the authorities in order to victimize and persecute us further. So absolutely disgusting, the fact that we're in this situation. I'm forced to speak to this person. My rights and liberties are not protected at all. All right. I mean, I'm placed into a dangerous situation where they are looking to cover up their fraud and corruption. I've spent an hour talking to this guy. I'm exhausted as well. He's exhausted. He doesn't want to deal with this case. But why does he just not get off the case? Predecessors have gone off the case. I've explained to him that my life is being endangered by simple acts of coming down. This is intimidation and harassment on their part. There's quite clearly the local authority are acting in a manner that's endangering my life. But most importantly, what has taken me 20 years to conclude, what has taken me a lifetime of liaising with the local authority to come to a determination with evidence and a conclusion, is the demonic possession. I don't like using the word demonic because it sounds very like conspiratorial or paranoia or like non-substantiatable, and demonic basically means the devil. All right, but effectively, in the absence of having the vocabulary to use another word, what the local authority effectively do is take possession of an entity, such a legal entity. They take possession. I think that's the right way to. They take possession of a legal entity, and that legal entity can be a person or a corporation, or it can be an institution. So in the case of a person, it can be a person such as my siblings. In the case of an corporation, it could be all the corporations that I've mentioned, such as the doctors and the Office of the Public Guardian and all these other people, or an institution like the judicial institution. So it is quite ironic that the local authority whom this person was representing regarding mental health, where mental health is all about people like my brothers are suffering from effectively demon possession. They will tell you that they've been possessed by demons, invisible people that they can see and envision. That's what schizophrenia is. Schizophrenia is demonic possession. My brothers explained to me that they are being possessed by external entities who are telling them to do something. So it is just, I think, so fitting and ironic that the demon possessions that my brothers are explaining to me, which are alternate, other dimensional, in what they're explaining to me, such as spirit world, all right, that has then manifested itself as the local authority taking demon possession and control over all these other organizations where they are effectively acting in a schizophrenic manner. That is, I think, very, very interesting, where schizophrenia induced or in my brother's mental siblings' mental health, all right, or in general public, where schizophrenia is effectively demonic possession by external invisible agencies, has been now manifested itself where British corporations such as the Office of the Public Guardian, the Department of the Work and Pensions, the Care Quality Commission, the Information Commissioner's Office, and other public institutions have become schizophrenic, where such as the NHS and all its subsidiaries, the National Health Service and its subsidiaries such as the Bradford District Care Trust, Bradford Teaching Hospital, Leeds Teaching Hospital, Oldham Royal Hospital, the Care Quality Commission, the Care Quality Commission, CCGs, all right, clinical commissioning groups, have become effectively schizophrenic and demon possessed, and the demon in this case being the local authority. But extending to this, the judicial institutions such as the courts and tribunal services in Bradford, in Leeds, in London, the judges, the barristers, the solicitors, the judges, the justices, all become schizophrenic under demon possession by the local authority. But that I can see the vehicle in that happening, such as the Office of the Public Guardian giving instructions to the Bradford Council to come and deliver a letter by Mr. Browell, who effectively is given a letter for Bradford District NHS Care Trust under his role as working for Bradford District, being subcontracted to Bradford District NHS Care Trust. So I can understand that, but can you understand when that demon possession and control is being extended to my siblings? My sister Shaida B. Hussain, my sister Halda B. Hussain, my sister, my brother Adalat Hussain, but extending that demon possession and control over my siblings, my nieces and nephews, Shagufta B, Tasveer Kausar, Wasim Nazim, all these people are now under demon possession control and become schizophrenic when dealing with me and my situation. I think that's kind of ironic and truly ironic. How ironic is that the very people that are meant to be resolving or caring for people with demon possession, schizophrenia, vulnerable adults, right, have themselves become demonic and are doing demon possessions over the rest of society. So this is why I think this particular call and this particular situation is very, very relevant to the public at large and society and all people in the UK, but most importantly in the whole world. So every citizen, every human being alive should be made aware of this situation of mental health, how mental health on an individual basis, such as what's happened to my brothers, can happen. Schizophrenia can arise, and as a result of which other people such as the pharmaceutical industry and the health authorities and the local authority can exploit you personally in order to financially plunder and profiteer by giving you medication and over medicating you and destabilizing you, all in the name of looking to act in your best interest, where effectively they can become demon possessed themselves and become schizophrenic and have this effect on the whole of society, where the whole of society can effectively become mad. And so when they say the world has gone mad, I can show you piecemeal how madness is derived in this society through the steps of, let's assume that there's a multi-dimensional or alternative dimensional madness that's being inflicted in an alternative realm, in the hidden realm, the demonic realm. So those demonic realms then possess vulnerable individuals such as my brothers and make them go schizophrenic and mad and control them. And as a consequence, there are society that looks to like resolve, help them, such as the NHS Trust or the hospitals or the pharmaceutical industries, who then alternatively equally then become demon possessed and controlled, and such as creating these demonic entities, such as now physical entities, real life entities, such as Bradford Council, who then continue to reverberate this demonic madness through their institutions, written institutions, corporate institutions, all right, and affect society at large. So it's quite interesting how we can go from the unseen realm of madness hitting at people, vulnerable individuals such as my brothers, who then are having an adverse effect on individuals such as the NHS and NHS employees, which are then having an adverse effect on the local authority, which is then effectively, going out and demon possessing and demonically controlling and vilifying and going mad to the rest of society. I think that's it's a very interesting concept that I'm experiencing, that I think everybody should be made aware of. So there's not a person in the United Kingdom who lives here who has not been affected by madness in the personal circumstances like I have, like my brothers and my siblings being effectively considered mad, but are being now effectively touched by madness as a society at large, while the NHS is crumbling, people are walking out and striking, there's a care crisis and everything like this. And it seems very relevant that the only one person in the society who understands madness and schizophrenia and demonic possession is nobody's more qualified than myself, who's got 20 years experience in this, and I'm therefore now looking to expose this to everybody so you understand exactly what's happening. So giving me an hour and a half of your life in order to listen to this call, in order to fully understand what's happening, I think an hour and a half is ample interest for you to take on. It's not a burdensome taxation on the listener to say that, well, I've spent an hour and a half to try to understand something which is personally pertinent and relevant to me, because I may not be touched by madness in my own family, but madness is all around me. I'm touched by the strikes, I'm touched by the NHS strikes and the failure in the NHS, I'm touched by madness in the cost of living crisis, I'm touched by madness in society and the politicians and everything else. So you, the listener, may not be germane to my personal circumstances, but this conversation is very relevant to you personally, because you're being touched by madness, by demonic possessions through proxy agents, which is no doubt emulated through what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying to you must reverberate and resonate with you personally, because you too must be touched by madness, and by being touched by madness you turn mad yourself, and this is the only way that you're going to save yourself from turning into madness and despair and becoming schizophrenic and going mad and crazy, is if you can understand the steps and processes that are involved, and you can understand that this is being orchestrated and contrived by somebody or something. This is an important message for you to understand. Please understand what I'm trying to say, and if you understand and appreciate it, please pass it on to others, because an hour and a half of your life to try to understand something very pertinent regarding your own mental health, which is a prevalent issue today in society, that nobody is more going to give you better advice about dealing with madness and despair than myself, who has been dealing with the madness and despair of not only my siblings turning mad, but the whole of society turning mad. And so please, I ask you to, listen to what I'm saying, and if you find it relevant and pertinent, please share it and try to spread the voice that don't go mad, don't go despair, stay sane And because people are trying to drive you to madness and despair, to kill you off, to financially profiteer from you, to over-medicate you, to try and make you go crazy. And the only defense you got about going crazy is that you are not mad. You are being driven mad. And somebody's driving you mad. And the reason that they're driving you mad is because of their own malevolent needs and agendas. So, I'll leave it there. Salam alaikum.